Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sal Podcast, live here from Rome, Italy in 2020. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm here with Luke Buck from New York, live here in our studio. Luke, how's it going?
Good. Going very well, actually.
And so far. Let's see
Let's see how this goes.
And then we have Frank in the control room today.
Hello guys.
Ciao
Hello,
Frankie, come stai? Tutto bene?
Bene, grazie.
Very
Thanks.
nice. All right, Luke, thank you very much for coming to this podcast on very short notice.
Yeah.
I just learned that you're a man of many talents. Like you are a musician, you work in TV, you work with photography, you ski as well.
Yeah. Don't forget the woodworking.
And the woodwork. That's a good one, exactly. So yeah, man, what brings you to Italy?
My cousin just moved up north, and I find whenever I have a family member that moves somewhere, I need to be the first one to visit them because I love to travel. So
great.
And then I bring my camera, I bring my little drone, I bring my guitar, and then I just spend as long as I can. I've been traveling since December, so 3 weeks.
Wow, okay, great.
Yeah, when you can stay for free.
That's alive.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. So what you doing with your drone? Do you like collect videos for a YouTube channel or some project or some long-term project or?
Well, I mean, I work, I shoot camera for television for certain shows.
Okay.
Others I do a multitude of different things. But I was working on this documentary where we were traveling around filming cathedrals, and I was working with a drone operator who was awesome. He basically gave me the whole rundown, told me how to get my commercial license. And so I have a commercial license in America. And I bought this little mini drone just to travel with and to practice. So now I'm traveling around practicing, flying around castles and lakes, and it's awesome.
I saw some of the footage. That's really amazing. I'm a bit sorry for the viewers that cannot see or the listeners that cannot see the
It's
material.
on my Instagram at Luke Buck.
That was easy. Very nice. Great, man. And so you're also a musician, right?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Among so many things that you do.
Well, music, I think, is my passion.
Right.
Music is the thing that it's hard to say like the best because right now music is the thing I like the best. Next week, maybe I'll be back into the film world.
Oh, so you're one of those that gets excited very easily by something and then follows it through until you're bored of it and then you move on to the next thing.
If I was in my 20s, I would be on Ritalin for ADD, but I'm in my 30s, so I passed that.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And so, how did you get into music?
I've always been interested in music. It was just, I don't know. I grew up listening to Radiohead and Counting Crows and Weezer, and I just loved it. But I always liked the sad songs. And so I remember my mom, I played this one Counting Crows song for my mom. It's called Raining in Baltimore. I just got the cassette. I would think it was like my 10th or 12th birthday. I ran downstairs with the big boom box because everything was bigger.
A boom box.
Yeah, everything was bigger in the 90s.
Right.
I ran down and I'm like, oh my God, I just heard this awesome song. You play it for your mom because who else are you going to play it for? And she's like, I wish you were a happy boy. It's such a sad song.
She said that?
Yeah, she's like, why can't you just be a happy boy? I was like, I'm very happy. I love this song, but it's a sad song. And it was the first time I actually learned how to play on the piano. So, but that didn't happen until 2008. I think I didn't learn how to play piano until 12 years ago. I just never had an opportunity.
And then you were hanging around in some place in New York.
Then basically, then I went through college. I was always afraid to play in public. To play guitar in public because it was important to me, and anything that's important to you, you get very shy about. At least I do. And then I went through this terrible breakup, and finally said, I think it was like just one drunken evening. I said, "Fuck it." I can say "fuck it," right?
Absolutely.
Fuck it.
It's encouraged.
I'm gonna start a band. So I started going to this open mic. It was called Cafe Vivaldi. In New York City on Great Jones Street. It's not there anymore. Like everything good in New York, it goes away.
Right.
The rent goes up and they can't afford it because it's a small little music venue. But I made a lot of really great friends there. Some of my best friends still. My first band, I was playing in a friend's band because he heard me play. It was one of those open mics where you would go and you would have people listen to you play and not just wait to play their own songs.
So you had an active audience, or were they all musicians?
They were all musicians, and some of them were waiting to play. When I first got there, I was so nervous. I was just drinking, and I was trying to remember the words to my song. And then once I would get sucked into someone else's song, I was like, no, I forget them now. Oh, shit. So you have to...
And also drinking is probably not the best cure for memorizing songs. It's not the best technique.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah?
I feel like at least if you've drunk enough, you could just make words up as you go. Because you already wrote them. No one's going to know if they're the wrong words.
Right.
No one's ever heard this song ever. And even if they have, you can change the word. You can do whatever you want. You're the songwriter. So,
right. There's some footage of myself, not recently, but almost recently, like before I took a break from alcohol, where I thought I had a fantastic performance of a song. I didn't remember quite everything of it, but I saw a video of it afterwards.
Oh, no, that's the worst. And it was the best thing you've
in the
ever
moment.
done.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But then watching it later,
I was like, what? I did that? What? But yeah.
I think for me, so I moved to New York in 2005 from a small place in Pennsylvania in the middle of the woods. It was like a ski town, an old repressed area. And so I moved to New York and I started working in TV. I worked on this documentary series for the History Channel about the American Revolution. Mm-hmm. It was a 13-part, hour-long. Each episode was an hour long. And I played a small colonial boy. Like I was an extra for like a scene because they had so many people and not enough money that they're already paying me. We'll give you an extra $50 if you play this part. I'm like, okay. So like you're on camera for 2 hours, then you're back to your other job.
All right.
But the coolest thing that this job did was they put us in a cabin by a lake instead of a hotel. Everyone else was in a hotel. About 15 of us they put in a cabin by a lake. So every night we would have a campfire.
Wow, nice.
So I brought my guitar up. I'm not playing in front of people at this point. I'm still afraid. And we had a gentleman in the art department who was he wasn't drinking either. He was sober at this point. And he was sober for years. Like recovering alcoholic, I think.
Okay, so he had to
He was a really cool guy, but wasn't drinking. And he's like, he said to me, he said, I remember when I would drink, the drunker I got, usually the better the person sounded. Mm-hmm. But the drunker you get, the better you sound. And I took that to heart. And I took that to the open mics to heart. I would just try to get as drunk as I possibly could, I guess.
You brought the technique to the extreme.
Yes, I did.
Right.
Well, wow, I sound like an alcoholic.
Well, I guess every musician goes through that period, I suppose, no?
Yeah.
It's always connected. All these venues, that's why it's so hard to get off the booze when you are connected to these venues, to live music or acting or acting probably less, but live music especially.
You also want to support the venue, I feel like.
That's the reason why you're drinking, right?
Yeah,
you want to support
that's
the venue.
reason I'm drinking. I want to support the venue. I want them to.
I really want to make sure, right?
Because otherwise, they go away. The rent goes up. Open mic's not making any money. They'll get rid of it.
That's what happened to the open mic in New York, right?
Yeah. Well, I almost bought that piano actually. The piano was for sale after
Steinway.
the place closed down. It was a big Steinway.
Wow.
They were giving me like a really cool deal, but it's a New York apartment. I could have fit the apartment, but I would have had to get rid of my bed and then start sleeping on the couch.
All right.
And I like my bed. I spent a lot of money for it.
Fair enough. Especially in New York, you want to get your sleep.
Yeah.
By the way, for everybody who's watching right now, I want to remind you, or for our new viewers, I would like to tell you that you can also ask questions on our live chat, which is on the left side here, probably on the YouTubes, somewhere there. So just ask your questions if you have any for Luke or for me or for Frankie. Hey, Frankie, how's it going, by the way?
Very nice, thanks, very well.
Holding the fort?
Yeah.
All right, good. Nice.
Thank you, by the way, for doing this in English. Is it always in English? Or
Normally it's in Swahili, but today we switched to English just for you.
Oh, wow. I'm learning slowly.
No, the thing is always in English. The idea is to have an international podcast from Italy.
I'd love it.
So let's see what happens there. But yeah, we're always doing it in English. Yeah, definitely.
Great, works for me. I think I know ciao, arrivederci, but my R's, I can't roll my R's.
It's very. Buonasera.
Buonasera. See?
Maybe Frank has got some tips how to properly roll your R.
You have to put the peak of the tongue between the middle of your inside of your mouth. I'm not saying English, sorry, and the teeth, and then you press with the A. Yeah, just relax.
I can do it there, but
just relax the peak of your tongue. You just have to train. Yeah, less stressed. But the word is you try even softer. Not force with the person. You have just to train. Don't worry. I know it's not easy.
So I'll get there.
So I went to Little Italy a few years ago in New York. I was a bit disappointed because it was like 3 restaurants and that's it.
Yeah, it used to be way
all
bigger.
empty.
It used to be way bigger, but Chinatown sort of took over.
Expanded,
Yeah. Yeah. The rents, man. The rent's too damn high. There was a guy that ran for office a couple years ago to be the mayor of New York. He had the best facial hair. I forget what his name was. I'll find it later and I'll send it to you so you can see a picture and maybe you can post it in the comments.
It's Italian?
No, he wasn't. But his platform was the rent is too damn high, and then he represented the rent is too damn high party.
Really?
Yeah, that was his party. That was his platform. Any question he was asked, he's like, I want to talk about the rent being too damn high. The rent's too damn high. It was brilliant.
Was it one of those fake runners for
It might have
office,
been.
like one of those joke runners?
If he made it to the end, I would have voted for him. Maybe he did, and I didn't vote that year. I don't know.
Right. You did not.
No, I should have. I always vote in the elections. Not that it matters.
So when you work on TV, what you doing there actually? Are you
I do
working behind the camera or
behind the camera mostly, except for my own music videos, which are fun. But I generally do lighting or camera work.
Okay, great.
At this point, so certain shows I'll do lighting for, and then other shows I'll do camera stuff for.
Okay.
And I have a small, we call it a boutique production company. Just we own a bunch of gear, so people will hire us, and then we bring crew, we bring gear, and then just charge them one price, and then we pay everyone ourselves. We have a partnership back home.
Okay, that's great.
So that's with the drone thing. That's with all the camera stuff. So that's one aspect, and then music is the other, and then woodworking is with another group of people, and then I don't know what else.
So how do you keep up with all these projects that you're running at the same time?
Have we talked about drinking? That's sort of it. No, I don't know. I just feel like I'm busy all the time. I think that's why I sort of just fucked off and came to Italy for a little bit.
How long are you planning to stay in Europe?
I actually leave Wednesday.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Wednesday morning, which is unfortunate because I wanted to really check out your open mic at the Public House.
Right.
On Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, the Public House open mic.
Openmicroom.net.
Mixed open mic, MOM.
Yeah, I'm very sorry that you're missing that opportunity, but next time you're here, definitely. We should maybe do some kind of, we did that a few years ago, some promoted artist slot. It opens tonight, like a featured artist, you know?
Yeah.
Next time you're coming to Rome?
I should be coming back. I'm going to try to do Oktoberfest in Munich in the end of September, and then come back down with my cousin to Vicenza, and then maybe I'll fly out of Rome.
Let me know, man.
Yeah, maybe I could do that.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Great.
Wow.
Done.
That'd be a good trip.
Live on camera.
Yeah, I guess I've committed to this. Please send money to at Luke Buck on
Patreon.
Venmo.
Are you on Patreon?
Yeah.
Are you using Patreon?
No, I'm not. Actually,
you should.
I don't know how to use it. I always feel awkward asking for money, but I shouldn't, because you're providing a service.
Well, you're providing a service. If people like it, they might want to support you with what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like selling tickets. I feel so bad charging people for tickets. Sometimes I'll buy them and I'll just give them to people. I'm so excited that they're there at my show. They're taking time out of their day. And if they've bought tickets, I usually try to buy them as much alcohol, because the drunker they get, the better I sound.
Well, see, that's the thing. I also feel awkward, I think, if I have to charge tickets if it's friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know your music already. They heard you probably at 20 open mic nights.
They've come out so often already. I actually have my next show is in New York on the 15th of February. There's this amazing music venue called Rockwood Music Hall.
Okay.
It's in the Lower East Side, in Manhattan. It's on Allen Street and Houston Street. Houston, not Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're from Texas, you'd call it Houston, but in New York, it's Houston. But I'm playing there. They're doing their 40th anniversary. No, 15th anniversary. They've been. I've been in New York for 15 years. They've been doing their thing for 15 years, and they're having basically everyone that has ever played in the venue come back that whole month. So I'm playing Saturday at midnight.
Sweet.
Bringing the band out of retirement. We haven't played a show as a band since April, which is crazy because we played every month, sometimes 2 a month the year before.
So
I just took some time off. I was burned out.
How many people are you in the band?
We used to be a 6-piece.
6-piece.
And
Wow,
then
that's a
everyone
lot of
moved
people.
away. Yeah, they got married. They started having kids. You know,
It's a classic.
It's the problem with turning 35 at that point. But now we're a 3-piece. I want to get us up to 4, but I'm like looking for a guitarist or pianist that fits it. Did I say that? Pianist, piano player, keyboardist.
Right. Pianista in Italian.
Pianista. Someone who fits in with the groove that can like bounce back and forth, because I bounce back and forth between guitar and piano. So I want to find someone that when I'm on piano, they can be on guitar. When I'm on guitar, they could be on piano or guitar, and just sort of.
It's all your music, all written by you, or is it covers, or is it?
Yeah, it's. We try to throw one cover in, like usually from the '90s.
Nice.
I'm a child of the '90s, so basically, we started doing this because friends that would come, they're like, "You sound like a '90s cover band, except it's all original music."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, I'll take that as a really big compliment because I grew up on '90s music." So we usually do what we call a super secret cover, where we've done, what did we did Angels of the Silences from Counting Crows, which was awesome. My favorite was Paranoid Android, Radiohead.
Right. So you're still a huge Radiohead fan?
Still, yeah.
Tom York?
Yeah.
I had a guy here on a podcast a few months ago. He's on tour with Radiohead with this other project, Tomorrow's Modern Boxes.
Oh, yeah. They just came
he-
through New York. I wasn't able to see it.
All right, and he's Tarek Barry. He does the visual arts, the live visuals on
really?
the project.
On the screen?
Right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I always wondered how they do that.
Well, he's got the whole setup. He's doing it live. It's
Yeah?
all there's some pre-programmed stuff, but he basically creates 3D worlds and then develops them as he moves along. He moves through the worlds as they play. So he's kind of playing the visual play.
Yeah, so he's playing the visual
Right,
player.
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah, I should totally email him. Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, great. So what's your process then when you play original music with a band? Because I suppose there's a time when you write the material, you rehearse it for yourself, then you rehearse it with a band, and then you play it live. So do you have a process or a time when you do these things, a set time, or is it just? I mean, you're doing so many things. That's why I'm interested how you kind of make things work together.
So with the band, I usually bring something that's almost finished at this point to them, and then they'll come up with their own parts a lot of the times. And,
Okay.
But my songs aren't super complicated. Like I'm a simple guy. I like simple things. I wish I lived in the middle of Maine.
Guy.
Just a simple guy. Yeah. Wish I lived in Maine in like a cabin in the winter where I could chop my own wood and just sit in front of the fireplace and play guitar, or maybe a video game every once in a while. But so the majority of my songs I've written walking my dogs around the park. Like I'll have a melody in my head, and then I'll start coming up with lyrics that way. And then if they're good, I'll say it into my phone and I'll try to speak it that way. If they are, if they're not, I forget them. I'm banking on that because I've forgotten so many lyrics. So I hope those are the not good ones and not the really, really good ones. But generally then I'll go and I'll play guitar by myself or play piano, come up with something and bring it to the band. And then back when we were a 6-piece, it was awesome because I had this, I had a really good relationship with my other two guitarists and my drummer and my bassist, and we would bring stuff. But the two guitarists were amazing, Chris and Per. Actually, Per's first name is Chris too, but he's Norwegian, so he sticks with his Per, which is
Okay.
It's a long story. I know him as Per. If you grew up with him, you know him as Chris, and it's complicated. But there were two Chris's in the band, and the drummer Tom, and Tom is that guy that can play any instrument better than you can. So it makes you feel very self-conscious. But I remembered some music theory stuff that I was working on in high school. And so he knew that. So it was fun to talk to him about, like, where would this go after that? And then it works that way. And the ideas that they would bring just strengthen the song completely. Right. And then it takes on its own life. But then when I play it by myself, it's still sort of, I don't know, it's hard to, yeah. It's a collaborative effort as much as it can be when you have someone like me who likes to be in control a little bit more than he should. Right. Okay. And then Jed would come up with his own bass lines and stuff, and he comes up with a lot of, he's more Red Hot Chili Peppers style. It's kind of funny,
the
like
bass and stuff.
Yeah, like he does that like in between songs, which is kind of fun because then my style isn't Red Hot Chili Peppers at all. So then we go into something else. Right. But we're playing with we've been playing for the last 2 years or a year with a new drummer, Rob, because Tom moved to London. So, and Rob's one of those session guys who can just play anything. All right, great. Wow. So, but I can play guitar better than he can, and that feels good. I had Tom on my first record play guitar solo because he was just. I was like, so we need like Prince meets John Mayer. I wrote a song called Jenny, which was this big piano ballad in which the chorus was "Fuck you, Jenny."
Next girlfriend.
Yeah. And then but it needed an epic solo at the end, and Tom was in the studio that day, and it was like, you need to try this. And he just played something so beautifully. I had one idea for a lick, and I was like, start here, come back to this. I don't know what's in the middle. Right. And so he made what was in the middle. Sweet. Yeah, it was. That's great to have these guys around, that are technically so much also better than you. I mean, in the end, you want to surround yourself with really talented guys. In everything I do, I want everyone else to be better than me, and it makes me feel sad sometimes, but it also elevates what I'm doing to the next level, I think. I think it's important actually to surround yourself with people that are better in things than you are, because, as you say, it elevates you. Yeah. Because if you're always the best in the room, what's the motivation to improve? Why am I in that room? Well, yeah. Right. Unless I want to stroke my ego or something. Yeah, well. Which I exactly. I mean, no. Everybody wants to stroke their ego a little bit. Yeah. But no. It's fun to be in that room for 5 minutes, but then move on to something else. Then you go into the room where everyone's better than you, and you're like, oh man, I feel like shit again. This is great. But it's very easy to get caught up in the wrong room, because it's very easy to get lazy and to, complacent with your... Yeah. And plateau at your, whatever your skill is, plateau at your technicality. Yeah. I'm actually kind of upset at myself for taking so much time off last year and focusing on a lot of other things, the other things that interest me. And I got really pissed off at myself because I've been working on this album. I need to finish this. I want to do a full-length album. And I have all the songs written. It's just, it costs money. It takes time. Right. And time is actually the hottest commodity. I live in New York. I have to afford my rent. I'm running two different businesses. Rent is too damn high. Rent is too damn. I gotta bring that guy back. I should run for office. Maybe you should. That should be my slogan. I think so. And then I'll get his face. It's like it was this mustache that came down and then up into sideburns, and it was a black guy with white hair, or some of it was white. Maybe some of it was. It was amazing. Maybe you should just slightly change the slogan to kind of differentiate yourself. So the rents are still fucking high. Yeah, right. Yeah. So good. Sorry, Mom. Isn't that what we just lost one viewer? Isn't that what? Actually, we just gained two. Well, in that case, fuckity fuck. Yeah, exactly. Isn't that what Trump did? That he took the slogan "Make America Great Again," which is already an old slogan. That was "Make
for Great America or something. There used to be an old slogan from some other president at some point.
Yeah, that's a different story. Man, I'm not going to get into that.
Like from a marketing point of view, it was a great idea, you know?
Oh, yeah. He sold a whole lot of hats. I know people that bought hats as a joke.
Right.
I was just talking to my cousin. He bought his, I guess he bought a friend of his or a girlfriend. I'm not sure exactly what their relationship was, but she is super left.
Right.
And he bought her like that hat because they got into a fight and he wanted to buy her a present. And I guess that made everything not better.
I guess not, no.
Oh.
I guess it's gotta be a dick move, actually.
It's kind of a dick
It's like bringing meat. It's like, yeah, you're vegetarian. Here's a steak.
Yeah. Oh, I bought you a steak. You wanted a gift. It's a great. It fits well. Steak eats.
Right. I mean, it's funny in a way, but probably she didn't feel that way.
I think she thought it was funny ultimately, and I'm pretty sure she burned it.
Great sense of humor. Nice.
Yeah.
Lucky guy.
Yeah. Well, they're not together anymore.
Well. Hey, Frankie.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
I'm checking in every now and then just to make sure that you didn't faint or something.
Everything is okay. I like this podcast. Very funny, I have to say. I'm having a good time.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Are you smoking weed in there or something?
No, I didn't. I mean, nothing lasts for hours. So
Okay.
So it's okay, right?
So you're almost sober. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you hear that in Italy now it is legal to, I think you can grow wheat now in your own house?
Yeah, what technically is supposed to be legal is that you can grow just, in Italian we say modica quantità, like a little quantity, a little quantity, a little size.
You can have like 3 plants or like...
Yeah, it's not specified. Maybe 3 plants could be too much, but if you have just one, in that case, for sure, you can make it grow up. You can grow up. How do you say? You can grow up.
Grow it.
Yeah, you can grow it. Sorry, you can grow it for your use. So because the law says, okay, you can have it just a little bit for yourself, and never said you cannot grow it. But growing is connected to that kind of action. And now there's been a judge who said, okay, you grew it. Okay, it's just a plant. It's okay, you can do it. So now technically we are okay.
But it was the court. What's the highest court in?
The Corte di Cassazione. Corte di Cassazione is
the highest court, right?
Yeah, high court. I mean, Supreme High Court. Cassazione is the last grade of judgment.
Right.
How do you say? Yeah, that one.
Like,
so
is it over? Like it would be like the Supreme Court in the United States, right?
Yeah, there's a Supreme Court as well. Yeah. Maybe their choice is different, in United States. But laws about these drugs are similar. Maybe the judgment can be different, but this depends also on what kind of stuff, what kind of fact they have to deal with. So it happens that a judge can make can announce another kind of season for something like these drugs just because something happened. That's how it works. That's how, what can
he
I tell you?
studied law. He knows a bit about all this stuff.
Yeah.
I tried to say something. No, but that's what I really am pretty sure about. So.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. So let's see. Then, so you're a musician. You work on TV.
I can't grow anything. I kill everything.
I wasn't asking you if you're. But you're good with wood, I heard.
Yeah.
Woodwork.
Just recently we started doing coffee tables and stuff. My cousin, my brother,
that's amazing.
And a buddy of mine that I grew up with.
Right. So you just started it out of the blue, or did you already do this for a long time?
I've always loved making things with my hands.
Okay.
And we came across some wood that fell in Virginia in the Shenandoah Forest, and we were gifted it, and we built a bar for my cousin's apartment.
Right.
And out of that same tree, I built a dining room table for my apartment, and then
Sweet.
My brother built a beautiful mix of epoxy and wood coffee table for a wedding gift, and we were like, this is fun.
Right.
We could have fun, drink beer, and make money. Let's do that. So we started a little company called 4 Cases, because we bought 4 cases of beer, and there's 4 of us, and we're nutcases. And We just
Nice.
we get together, buy some beer. Well, we've moved on. We try to always do the power tools stuff first, and then drink the beer while we're finishing.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
we're,
it'd
we're
be
not
like.
stupid. We're just alcoholics.
Do you ship worldwide?
What? Yes, we can ship worldwide. I'm sure.
Nice. Well, it's great. It's very fascinating. It's something I regret that I didn't learn
You can
more about that.
You can learn now.
I mean, YouTube, I
suppose.
suppose.
I was a late learner. You can learn anything on YouTube.
Right.
YouTube is amazing. I call it YouTube University.
It is.
If you just need to learn, I learned how to build websites on there, and then Flash went away, and so I shouldn't have wasted my time. So
Flash. Yeah, that was thanks Steve Jobs.
yeah, thanks Steve Jobs.
Although Flash was probably a bad idea to
now I
start
just
with.
use Squarespace, so I don't need to learn
Okay.
how to do anything. But you can, like, if I need to learn how to do something for photo editing, you can look that up.
Right.
If you need to learn where you can fly your drone, like you can look
Right.
that up. You can
I mean, it's
learn
crazy
anything.
how many times a day I think we go on YouTube to check out something, to learn something, right?
Yeah,
Stupid things like,
yeah,
I don't know.
and then you go on there to learn
Anything.
something, and then there's another tag that just makes you click on that next thing, because everything's
Okay,
clickbait,
well,
and
right.
they program it, and then next thing you know, 2 hours have gone by, and you're suddenly watching cat videos.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you gotta have a lot of self-control for that. That's true.
yeah.
Right.
Self-control's maybe not my thing.
No? Very nice. Hey, everybody who's watching right now. By the way, I'd like to remind you, you can ask questions. There is a live chat window on YouTube. If you are navigating from mobile, I think you have to scroll down, and you can ask Luke a few questions.
Oh God.
Or me. Anyway, all right. So now you said you're going next back to New York, but you're gonna be coming back to Europe at the end around October, right? For the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I want to do Oktoberfest, and right now I'm coming back to Scotland in May, end of
Sweet.
May. After I finish, I work on this show that films until the middle of May. So I'm just gonna fly to Scotland afterwards, try to go to Islay, but basically support a friend of mine who's running around Loch Ness,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Wow.
I'm taking advantage of that trip also to finally go to Scotland. I've never been. So,
Right.
yeah, and then come back in October to Rome to play your mic.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe there's other places to play too. Like, are there cool music?
There are
venues
some
around?
places, yeah. I mean, there's a place now that a friend of mine is probably doing the open mic again. It's called the Fiddler's Elbow, Thursdays.
Oh, cool.
It's also an open mic night.
Oh, okay.
Then there's
But
some
even
other-
not open mic nights. Like, maybe I'll just book some shows next
no,
time.
no.
I
I
go
mean,
through.
for booking shows, I'll give you a list
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
of places you can probably ask.
Have you ever been to New York?
Yeah, I've been there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You said Little Italy you went to, and it was
Yeah,
very small.
yeah.
When was this?
Oh God, that was maybe 2008 or
Okay.
9.
I was there. Why didn't you call me?
I wish I could turn back time, back to the future.
If I
I-
could find a way.
Yeah, back then I stayed in Astoria. Astoria
Yeah,
Queens.
Astoria, Queens. It's a bit out of the city.
Astoria Boulevard. That was where I stayed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you make it to Brooklyn?
Uh,
2008, Williamsburg was cool.
Don't really remember much of what I did back then. It was a lot of stuff. We also did a whole road trip, then all the way down to Florida.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's all. Did you go to Miami or the Keys?
No, we made it up to San Augustine.
Oh, I was just in St. Augustine this past
Really?
this past summer.
It's a great town.
Beautiful.
I think there I played an open mic actually,
Oh shit. Yeah, I was in town the day
and there was
after same thing.
and there was a beer, like a huge beer bar where they had like literally hundreds of different kinds of beer,
Yeah.
and there was like kind of a beer quiz night when I was there.
Well, there's a thing going on in America which is amazing, and I haven't really found that yet here or anywhere that I've traveled around, because usually in Germany it's all German beers, and Slovenia it's all Slovenian or German, and but there's craft breweries that are just popping up like crazy. Like, I brew my own beer.
You also brew your own beer.
Yeah, I guess
Amongst all
I
the
forgot
other
to
things.
I forgot to mention that.
I also
I also bake pies.
did you also set up a company for that?
No, but I want to, and
All right.
I want to say the name of this beer because it's brilliant, but I don't think I can.
Yes.
Someone might steal it.
Right. So wait.
I want to patent it, but it's brilliant.
Okay. What's it taste like? Give us.
It's a Bach style. It's a
Okay.
Bach style because my last name is Buck, so
Fair enough.
it's Luke Buck Bach.
Right.
Bach.
All right.
This
all
giant
right.
rooster on it. I've already made it twice, so now this is like this is patent.
Wow.
TM. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So okay. And you also learned it on YouTube how to do it, or?
A buddy of mine is a brewer.
Right.
The first band that I was in, Glenn, he was our guitarist. I was a keyboardist. He was a guitarist.
Okay.
And he started homebrewing. So then we all started homebrewing, but he was really good at it.
All right.
And he started working in breweries. And then he moved to Austin and started, that's where...
His name is not Glenn Thomas, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. Glenn Couples.
Right.
And he got so good at it, he went to Austin, which I feel like is Mecca for beer. It's that's where they all the big brewers go. And he was originally from there too, so he moved home after he got married. And he made a recipe for me. I was like, Glenn, I want a Bach style beer. I already have the name picked out. I don't know what it tastes like. Tell me what it tastes like. And he made the recipe for me.
Wow.
Yeah. But now I'm into sour, so I want to have a sour bucker.
Okay.
Another play on the word.
Well, it must be fun. I mean, I'm not really in that world of brewing and creating alcohol, but I have a friend of mine who did the first Roman gin,
Oh,
and
yeah?
they're selling it now. And in Rome, there is a way to say the article the. In Roman is er, which is old.
L.
Yeah.
L.
So they call it er gin, which is a Roman gin, er gin. And it's the only gin and the first gin that's been created within the walls of Rome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a bathtub gin. I don't really know what it means, but
It doesn't mean he makes it in his bathtub
no,
because
it's not. They used to, I think, in the old days, but not anymore.
I had we did a job in Mexico and we had our local guy. He liked my business partners and he's like, I like you guys. I'm going to bring you something special tomorrow. And he brought a 5-liter gas jug, like a red gas jug filled with mezcal. Have you ever had mezcal?
No.
He said, I made it in my bathtub.
Whoa.
And he's like, there's just one rule. Don't go to sleep angry. Because if you go to sleep angry, you'll have nightmares.
Christ.
Or go blind.
Or lose a limb or something.
So by the time we filled up water bottles with it so we could travel to the other locations because we traveled all around Mexico. And we would give it out to people after we were done. Like, here's some mezcal. It was awesome.
Nice.
We finished. We didn't bring any of it home.
But I think it's really working. Alcohol. I mean, in Italy, obviously, wine is a big thing. But there's also a lot of microbreweries that started
Are
the
there
last couple of
microbreweries?
years. Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've only visited 2 vineyards since being in Italy, and it was a magical experience. Everyone was so friendly, and they were just ready to pour whatever you wanted to try.
Right.
And
they're very proud of what they produce, so
and they should be.
they're happy to share it.
That's something that I wish we had more of in America. Everyone is proud of their job.
Right.
I went to the butcher to get a cut of meat, and the expert way that they did it, and they took pride in it. It was amazing. You weren't wasting their time. They were happy to be there. And maybe I've just gone to the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, too often in Brooklyn, where you just see people that hate their jobs.
Really?
I haven't met anyone that hates their job here yet.
I mean, I probably haven't spent much time in Rome yet.
Yeah, I guess I haven't spent much
Romans
time
are
in
very particular when it comes to hating their job or hating the customer, I suppose. What do you think, Frankie? Maybe you're Roman, you know more about it.
Yeah, technically I'm Roman. It's a very hard question, this one. Yeah, for me. Hating, it depends even on which part of Rome you are in. Let me think about this because it's very hard, When you live in a city, some question like this, you have to watch it from inside, So you have to process as well this. I'll tell you later if I have some thoughts.
Okay.
I don't want to say stupid things about it,
Well, I'm over here saying stupid things about everything.
No, don't say that. I have the responsibility of my city in this case.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I mean,
no one cares me, but
I've only been. I arrived in Rome at 3 p.m. So I've only been in Rome for 5 hours so
Wow.
far.
Okay, I thought you've been here before.
I passed through. I landed in Rome, and I got right on a train heading to Vicenza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, then we got to show you something tonight.
Yeah, I googled a lot of things to see, and but I'm gonna take your word for whatever I need to see.
All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, at least you should check out Trastevere later after this.
Yeah,
briefly.
even just where the neighborhood we're at is awesome,
Right.
and walking from where I'm staying over to here.
It's not too far to walk. I think to you're around the Vatican area.
Yeah,
right now,
it
right?
wasn't. It took like took 40 minutes, half an hour ish.
Okay.
The only thing that I could say that I was slightly disappointed in so far, and can I say that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Last year, about a year ago, I was in Paris, and
Right.
my favorite thing to do was walk along the Seine.
Mhm.
And as you're there, there's some boats that are restaurants, and you can have
Yeah, we don't have that.
have like a cafe. Yeah, and in New York, they've redone the whole West Side Highway. So the west side of Manhattan, I actually took my dogs. I live in Park Slope, and I walked 26 miles with my dogs. So 13 miles up and 13 miles back. And all along the river, there were shops. There were new cafes.
Right.
Places you can get a drink. There was beach volleyball on like a pier. Like we were taking advantage of it. Our river's way wider. The Seine's smaller. The Tiber,
Right.
is what is
This is Tiber,
that
yeah.
one? Yeah. So the Tiber, it's wide, but there's nothing on the waterfront.
Well, we have something in the water only in the summertime
Okay,
when then all bars and everything sets up outside. I
gotcha.
think the problem around this time is one of the problems is that there tend to be floods, and so the water level gets
Oh,
pretty high. Like sometimes it even gets so high that there's, you probably haven't seen that yet, but there's an island called the Tiberian Island, Isola Tiberina, where there's a hospital, and they had to evacuate it I think twice this year
because of floods.
because of the floods. Yeah, so having your business there
Yeah.
throughout the year would probably not work.
Well, I just went through Venice too. I was in Venice.
Right.
I did a day. I walked around the streets, and they're having all sorts of floods and stuff there now too.
I mean,
right?
every year they have always had higher waters, but not as high. Well, I think it only happened once that it was higher than what it was this year. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
I was
quite
just glad to be there a day that was like nice.
normal.
Yeah.
Was it after the flooding or before?
It was like a week ago.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
All
so
back to normal.
it was back
mostly?
to, there was some sediment everywhere and at certain places, but everything was, it seemed like it was normal to me. Everything was way outside of normal for what I'm used to.
Right.
Anyway, it seemed beautiful. And I had always heard Venice smells, but I didn't smell at all.
I think it happens when the water retracts, and so certain parts of the ground are freed, and so you get the sea smell probably.
Probably. Yeah. It's like a sea or
And
sulfur
the
type
heat,
thing.
and it kind of makes it smell sometimes. But I think usually, as long as there's enough water, it takes away all the old stuff. It's
It was beautiful,
Mm.
and I loved just getting lost in it. I took some amazing photos, and then drank at a couple decent wine places, and then
Nice.
Generally, when I travel, my language skills are not what they should be.
Mm.
Being an American.
Well, your English is quite good for being American.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Being an American, I feel like we're not so close to other cultures that we can just immerse ourselves in the language.
Right.
I'd studied German in high school for 4 years.
Okay.
And
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Nein. Nein. Nicht so gut.
Nicht so gut.
And I wasn't able to practice it, so I
Right.
never really got really good at it. Then I studied Latin in college because I was like, you ever see the movie Tombstone?
You, Frankie?
I think so. Is it as a western?
Yeah,
movie?
it's a Western with
Yeah.
Val Kilmer as Doc
Val
Holliday.
Kilmer, yeah.
He was amazing, and there was a scene where someone spoke Latin, and Doc Holliday says, "Apparently Johnny Ringo is an educated man,"
Well,
because he knew Latin.
right.
It's like, now I really hate him. I'm like, oh, you have to learn Latin to be an educated man. Okay, I'll study Latin. And like after the first day, it was like it's an unspoken language. It's just written.
Right.
You guys know. And so I mix my Italian with my French with my Spanish just terribly. So I forgot why I got into languages or why I got on this topic in the first place. I knew I had a trajectory.
There was a goal at the end.
But Johnny Ringo was an educated man, and now I really hate him.
Right.
Yeah.
You were traveling because you went through Venice, and every time you travel, you said that it's with languages.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's where I'm going with this. What a stupid thought process. So whenever I travel in another country, and I try to speak the language as much as I can, but then there's always an Irish pub that you can go into, and you know there are Irish guys that are working there, even in America.
Yeah.
And you go in, and you can like actually communicate a little bit, and there's usually live music. And so on the way out of Venice, I stopped at the 3 Irish pubs on the way to the train station. Just to try them out.
Of course, you gotta.
I went on an Irish pub crawl in Venice. Here's what I learned.
Well, you know that. I mean, for me, an Irish pub in a way is like an airport.
Okay, like an
Because
airport pub or
international, because you meet international people there.
Yes,
but you also know more or less what expects you, because every airport is the same.
Yeah.
Way.
Well,
Most.
some of them are better than others. I've traveled my fair share in America this last year.
Right.
I was doing that travel job.
Right.
Some of them are far better.
What do you think of Fiumicino, the one in Italy?
Well, I had a pretty bad experience.
Really, what happened?
Well, we get off the plane and go down to the luggage area, and my whole plane is waiting for it, and someone announced, like, your plane flooded. Like the bottom of it flooded, I think they said, because he spoke it in English after he gave the announcement in Italian, and everyone was angry. So like I knew by the time I got to English that I was going to be angry too.
Right.
But I don't really get angry. I sort of just, well, whatever. Now this is the new thing. And I waited 3 hours for my bag to show up, and it was going to be a thing where we wrote our address down and they send it to us. So that was my first Italian experience.
Okay.
I get off, I'm like, oh, this is great. Going to the bathroom, I'm like, oh, the bathrooms are clean. This is amazing. I'm back in Europe. This feels so good.
Right.
Italy for the first time in Italy. And then I wait by the conveyor belt for 3 hours and go back and forth between the conveyor belt. Then I follow the group of people to the info desk, and then I follow the group of people back to the United Airlines gave me like $150 credit for my next flight. I don't know what that's going to do.
But they flooded it as in the liquids.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay, how does a plane flood? What happens? It's not raining. Did something break? Is my bag going to come out soaking wet? Like, are all my clothes going to be? No, I have no idea what happened.
Maybe he just translated it the wrong way.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe want to say that the pilot was drunk or something.
He just meant broken.
He flooded his...
Yeah. Pilot was flooded, so he crashed the plane after it landed. Yeah.
It's a shame because Fiumicino.
It seems cool.
It won the prize twice, I think, for best airport in Europe. Yep, Frankie can't believe it.
Well, as much as I'm not looking forward to going back to New York, I guess I'm now looking forward to go back to Fiumicino.
Hopefully, your experience will be better this time.
Yeah, well, I like to give myself plenty of time before flights because I'm maybe a nervous flyer. I just want to be there on time. Right. I want any kind of possible. I'd rather be there and wait than be rushing there.
Well, we established before that you like to be in charge of things, so
yeah. Right? Oh well, actually,
it's connected.
Oh God, this is another thing that I'm gonna do. So when I got my drone pilot license, the commercial thing, I was taking a test, and they said the test to be a private pilot is very similar to this test. And my one thing with flying is like, I like to drive. If I'm there, I want to drive. I don't want to be the passenger, just because it gives me something to do.
You're in control.
I actually have a lesson, a pilot lesson. I'm going to try to become a pilot for fun.
Because you have nothing else to do, right?
Because I want to be a space cowboy.
Okay,
ultimately, I've always wanted to be.
That speaks Latin.
Yeah, that speaks Latin because I'm an educated man. I don't know. I want to do too many things in this world. I just need to get married and have a couple kids and then calm the fuck down.
Well, it's great to have ambitions, to keep yourself moving, to keep the brain stimulated. So you get a pilot. You're starting to get a pilot license.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I have no ambition to fly big planes. I just want to be able to fly a little, because flying the drone has been amazing.
Right.
It's so cool to see that angle of everything, and just I don't know. It feels like the next frontier.
Right.
I'm a big sci-fi fan, big sci-fi nerd. I love that stuff. My name is Luke. Okay,
Of course.
I fell into Star Wars.
May the force be with you.
Thank you, and you also. But meanwhile, Han Solo's always been my favorite character.
Okay.
So
What do you think about them killing him off
terrible,
2 movies ago or 3?
terrible spoilers.
Yeah.
Ter-
Well,
but-
if you haven't seen it by now,
Yeah.
you deserve to spoil
I
it.
mean, all characters need to eventually die, and if the story never ends, you're gonna see those characters die. Like,
Right.
they basically killed everyone off. So, I guess Princess Leia died in real life,
She did, yeah.
so that sucked.
Hmm.
And anyway, I really enjoyed the last Star Wars movie. I really did. I liked all 3 of them.
Well, I would probably do a pilot license just for the thought of, for the fantasy thought of, which is never going to happen. But if an airplane has a problem and the pilot kind of falls asleep,
Oh, this thing.
and you are the only one,
The pilot's too drunk. Does anyone know how to fly a plane? I do.
and the pilot's name is Luke. He had a few pints back in the Irish pub.
Oh, man.
You should take over.
He was looking for an open mic, so he stopped into an Irish pub, and
Right.
he had a little too much because it's the airport. There is no
Of course,
open mic. They should have open mics in airports.
they should. I mean, they have a piano now. In
Oh.
almost. I mean, in Europe, in most airports, I think they have, or is it just in Italy? I have no idea. But all Italian airports now have pianos.
I think
It's everywhere in Europe, right?
everywhere in Europe, and
Or they're starting it now.
I think it's 10 years ago they started. Now
10 years ago
yeah,
already. Okay, I
I've
just
been
noticed it
in-
now.
Yeah, I've been in 6 or 7 airports in Europe. They all have a piano, even in the station.
I mean, it's a great idea. It's great. Usually, it's people who know what to do. Sometimes, though, when somebody does not know what to do with the piano, the problem is the
Yeah.
piano is quite a loud instrument.
Yeah,
yeah, a bit.
And if your flight is very close to that piano,
yeah.
there's no way to escape. You know,
Well, I think it
it's
should
like
be
a children. Ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
Example. Yeah.
there should be like a time limit.
Right.
It's like for every right note you hit, you get a little extra time.
And after 10 minutes, like the keys go
yeah.
inside.
Yeah. Maybe you stick a dollar coin in or
Right.
something. And that's another thing that I want to talk about with the euro. All of the coins.
Right.
Where do you keep them? You can hear while I'm walking. It's just
Ding,
jingle,
ding,
jingle,
ding,
jingle. Because the ATM's spitting out 20s, and then
Really.
yeah,
Well, Italians, they love their cash. That's for sure.
cash is king here.
Also in Germany, I think they love the cash still, even though they're using credit cards and cards more. In Northern Europe, I think they are starting to try to get rid of the cash,
Oh, really?
and even here they are starting to incentivize people to use cards more. But I think culturally, Italians just don't trust the banks.
Yeah. Well, I totally get that, and I heard about the
Some people
freeway
don't
system too.
Some people don't even have a bank account here.
Really?
Yeah,
I,
it's a normal thing. I know many people who don't have a bank account in Italy.
That's crazy to me, but I love it.
They rather keep the cash at home
Uh,
or invest it in, I don't know, buy houses, whatever.
like stick it in their mattresses.
I don't know. Would be good to know. But one thing I read though, and I was surprised by that, is I think the private debt of Italians is amongst the lowest worldwide, and even lower than that of Germany, for example. So people, because the culture, there's not a culture like in the States, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's a stereotypical thought, so maybe it's not true. But I'd imagine that that Americans are quite quick on drawing the credit card to buy things that they cannot afford or
Yeah.
that they might pay off later. Here, that does not happen that much. So here, it's
You guys figured
not
it
so
out.
much in
then?
the culture. I don't know. Well,
You figured it out because
wages are way lower, but it's a different lifestyle. You know,
yeah.
it's
Well,
different.
for us, I mean, I don't know about the education system, but for us, education, you basically it's like the Matrix. Have you seen the Matrix?
Yes,
They're coming out with the
love
fourth
it.
one, by the way.
What?
Yeah, no, there's
Wait,
going to be
when?
a fourth. They're filming it soon. They're like in
Okay,
production
with
stage.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, like even
Wow.
though that it ended that way. Yeah. Anyway, sidebar. We'll
Wow,
talk about that later
nice.
because it's awesome.
You got me all excited now.
But I feel like we are, to go to college, we are, the kids that are going to college are batteries in those tubes just for the banks to suck money out of. And then when you graduate from school, you're in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Like
Yeah.
I'm still paying my student loans.
What?
Like, So I have that, and I have a car loan. Those are the only two loans that I have. Those are the only debts that I have, and I'm considered like debt free, or because at least I consider myself that, because it's just normal that everyone has a student loan, and then depending on what you go to school for, like you pay all this money to go to school for something where you're not going to make that money back. The people that lend you the money know it, but then you're still just you're a battery being.
And so what's the typical student loan in the States at the moment? You went to
I couldn't tell you the typical one. I could tell you mine was low, and it was $18,000 when I was done.
Wow.
My sister went to medical school for a year and then dropped out her second year, and I think hers was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that's like grad medical school, so that's like an expensive one.
Right.
But still,
there's no guarantee you're gonna get a job later.
It's like no guarantee you get a job. It's not a placement thing. It's I mean maybe.
And even then, even if you,
it's just a business. They don't care about you.
If you pay back for I don't know 15 years or so or 20 years, then you basically can start thinking about investing and buying a house or something, you know. Or
yeah.
I guess there's plans to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so good at paying off debt now that like. When I own a house, I'm gonna be good at paying that off. You're used to it.
Wow.
Like once you pay one thing off, you're like, oh well, now I have all this extra money. I'll buy something else that I don't need, right. And then I'll just pay that then.
Hey Frankie, how much is a student? How much do students have to pay in Italy for?
You know, it depends on
for the university.
It depends on and the university and on your income.
It's income dependent of the family, right?
Yeah, it depends on, because after 26 years old, you cannot be anymore on their charge technically. You know.
So after 26 years.
After you have to declare your income, what you have in your bank, if you have a bank, even your real estate you're owning, and in 2 years they give you investments as well, many things, and after 2 years they give you the ISEE, we call it ISEE.
That's the student loan.
It's student law. Sorry, it's a law that, I mean, obliges to demonstrate this kind of situation. I mean, there's a number on this ISEE which represent a level. On that level, you have to pay more or less at the university.
So how much can it be that you have to,
for example,
pay to the university? In the worst case, let's say that you are filthy rich. How much do you have to pay?
Okay, if it is a public university, for example, let's say medicine, for example, the higher is about I think per year is 2,900 could be per year in a public university.
2,000?
2,900, yeah.
And that's the high. That's the high one.
Yeah.
That's the higher, but it's
we got a lot of Americans studying in Italy.
Yeah. I'm thinking I did it all wrong. I went to Penn State. I had a great time, but I should have gone to school here.
Well, it depends also, of course, that what reputation the university has, and if it's the right thing for your career. You know, maybe you want to work somewhere where they only accept Harvard students or whatever, or certain universities.
I had some friends that went to Harvard. They're all doing great. They don't talk to me anymore. That's how good they're doing.
That's strange.
No, damn, that's so cheap.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, another thing that I really loved about just walking around, just Italy in general and Austria, just everything is so old. We left and it's been there forever. And in America, it's a disposable culture, I feel like. If you see something that's 100 years old, that's old.
Right.
And meanwhile, we're tearing buildings down left and right because they're not built to last. They're built to make as much money as humanly possible right away, and then someone will sell it and rebuild something. I don't know.
I mean, I guess it has advantages and disadvantages. I mean, you could not tear down the Colosseum and rebuild it. That would be a crime to humanity.
Could you imagine? Yeah, that would be a crime.
But having culture where things are relatively new also allows you to kind of stay on top of trends, to adapt, to change society faster.
Sure.
So, you know, as pros and cons.
But
like Rome is very stagnant, for example, as a city.
Okay.
It's very slow, old. So it makes sense, you know.
Well, I mean, but you embrace that culture. Everything was.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, I guess as you said, New York, the life is so frenetic. Sometimes when hustling around, you forget what you
Yeah, yeah.
why
you're
you
so
do
busy.
that, why you're hustling.
Yeah, everyone's got their own hustle.
And so Rome is a great place, or Italy, to kind of re-embrace quality of life.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like I've missed out on in New York.
But then there's there's two extremes then. So you have to find a way in between, because if you just if you don't take business too serious, or if you don't innovate enough, then you also are left behind, and so your quality of life is also might be high, but you're still kind of struggling, and you have to keep up with paying bills or whatever, and the rest of the world,
Yeah.
So you have to find some kind of balance in between those worlds, I suppose.
That's sort of what I'm trying to do, I guess. Traveling's helped.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually, I come back from like a little while away, and I feel great for like the next 4 days, and then I'm just back in it.
Right.
Yeah. But so that's why I'm going to record as soon as I go home. A buddy of mine he just opened a new studio in upstate New York in the middle of the woods. So,
Sweet.
And that's sort of where I want to be right now, like I said earlier. And so I want to go check it out. I want to help him with that. I really like his music that he's released. He's in this band called Old Robes. And I really like the stuff that he does on his own. So I've got a couple of songs that I want to bring to him and play and see what he thinks and see what we can do with it. And then just try it out. I'll also break in his new studio.
Nice.
I mean, that seems like a dream, right? You break in someone's studio.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a big honor.
Yeah.
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 You should maybe also do an event there, like the Firelog sessions or something, and invite some artists, like a special open mic.
Yeah, like around a campfire.
Maybe invite only, so nobody burns down the place. But
well, I mean, his place isn't too far from Woodstock.
Fair
so,
nice.
I mean, I've been to Woodstock. I've never seen where the concert was, but the town itself is amazing.
Right.
It's so cool. I know a lot of artists go there specifically to record too. So, and I feel like I'm one of them now.
Oh yeah.
Maybe bigger
Very
than I
nice.
am. Yeah. That's
keep on dreaming.
Yeah.
Keep
right?
on dreaming big. That's important.
Well, that's why you keep doing this sort of thing.
Yep.
Like you said earlier, you keep throwing things against the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, last chance to ask questions. If there's no questions, then we shall wrap up soon. By the way, where can people find your material, your stuff, your music, your business?
Is Spotify a thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Spotify's big.
Yeah.
I'm on Spotify as Luke Buck, Lukebuck, and Instagram and YouTube. Actually, my YouTube. So when we were a six-piece, we played as Luke Buck and the Stops Here.
And the Stops Here.
Yeah.
Nice.
The old presidential slogan, "The buck stops here."
Right. Of course.
So Luke Buck and the Stops Here. A friend of mine came up with that, and I loved it, so I stole it because it's my name. So on YouTube, it's Luke Buck and the Stops Here, and we have a bunch of live videos and a couple of music videos. We did this one for the first song that I released off of the first album. It was a one shot on a steady cam where we went around the studio.
Okay.
I'll send you a link later.
Yeah,
You can check
absolutely.
it out. But it's one of my favorite things that I've ever done. It just came out so cool. I had a buddy of mine that's a professional Steadicam operator. We rented like the best camera we could. Got the studio.
Did you get like a Red or something?
No, an Alexa.
Was that?
It's an Ari camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ari is the best in the business.
Nice.
I'm not the biggest Red fan, I think.
Okay.
Only because I've used the earlier models, and as soon as you stop the record button, it's like because the fan turns on.
Really?
It's like it's trying to catch its breath.
I heard about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so loud. It's
Wow.
obnoxious. And early on it was freezing out. Anyway, I'm a big Ari fan.
Okay.
Ari and Canon, or Ari and Canon are my two
Okay.
favorites. But so Instagram at Luke Buck, YouTube Luke Buck and the Stops Here, Spotify Luke Buck, anywhere, and lukebuckmusic.com is my site. And I've got I printed my last EP actually in vinyl, which was really cool. Vinyl's making a huge comeback, and I heard love it. But we did some live sessions that we filmed for YouTube. I had six of us were in there, and we had 6 cameras in there.
That was sweet.
Similar to these cameras, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, they were these cameras.
Oh.
And we played through 9 songs.
Nice.
And we did it in 2 hours. It's like, so we got to play a couple songs twice. I think maybe 2 songs 3 times, but some songs only once. And it felt awesome. Like it was a super magical recording for me because I just started doing this and I melded both worlds. And I thought the quality was good, so I released them for fun. So actually the EP is 4 songs from the studio, and then on the other side, the 3 songs that we did from that session that were on that EP. So it's super cool. I wish I had some with me. I could have left you one.
It's all right. Next time.
But yeah, I'm all over the internet, I guess.
Sweet. All right. Then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Sal Podcast, or listening if you're re-listening this here on Apple Podcasts. Thanks to Frankie for being here as well. And, of course, thanks to Luke for coming all the way here to the podcast studio today.
Thank you for having me. This is
Luke Buck,
is
ladies
awesome.
and gentlemen. Fantastic. All right, Frankie, hit it.